A revolution is underway in parts of the region, a Jesus revolution. An unprecedented number of Muslims are forsaking Islam and choosing to follow Christ, especially in Iran.
A quiet revolution is stirring deep inside one of the world's most closely watched nations. In Iran, long known as a stronghold of Shiite Islam, an unexpected spiritual shift is unfolding. Christians refer to it as the Jesus Revolution. By some estimates, more than 1 million people who once practiced Islam are now choosing to follow Christ. In a land shaped by centuries of religious tradition and strict laws, this sweeping change has caught many by surprise. Imagine large crowds gathering inside hidden house churches, their faces lit with hope. At the same time, many of the nation's thousands of mosques sit nearly empty. This dramatic scene plays out across cities and villages, as men and women quietly turn away from the faith of their forebears. What drives this movement? Why would so many abandon the religion they grew up with? To understand this, we need to look beneath the surface of Iran's public life. On the outside, the Islamic Republic presents itself as a model of devout faith. Its leaders enforce religious law down to the smallest details. The morality police patrol the streets. Women who bend the dress code risk harsh punishment. Anyone who speaks against official teachings can face jail or worse. Yet behind the public facade, people are growing weary. Many Iranians feel trapped by a system that punishes small acts of free expression and blames social ills on moral failure. They question whether following a faith that seems to bring them nothing but hardship is truly the answer. Over the last decade, mounting economic hardship has shaken confidence in the government's claims. International sanctions, poor management, and corruption have driven poverty rates sky high. For a large share of the population, basic needs like stable work, fair wages, and affordable medicine have become daily struggles. In a nation where more than half of the people say they live below the poverty line, the promises of a better life under strict religious rule feel hollow. Beyond poverty, Iran battles one of the world's most serious drug problems. Experts point out that addiction has reached alarming levels, with thousands depending on substances just to get through each day. When faith communities can't offer practical help for these real needs, people start to look elsewhere for comfort and hope. Enter Christianity. Its message of personal forgiveness, unconditional love, and a direct relationship with God speaks differently to those worn down by systemic injustice. Instead of a faith tied to government power structures, many new believers discover a faith that feels personal and freeing. Rather than strict rules, they hear words about answers to prayer, community support, and a promise of rest for the weary soul. According to research by several mission groups, about 1 in every 85 Iranians has now embraced Christianity in some form. While official figures are impossible to confirm, the rise is clear enough that even senior clerics have begun to speak of a crisis of faith in mosques. Reports suggest that almost half of Iran's 75,000 mosques see no more than a handful of worshippers each week. A top religious leader, Ayatollah Abul Qasim, admitted publicly that mosque attendance is plunging and that the change is not limited to distant provinces but is spreading everywhere. What fuels this transformation? For many, Christianity provides a stark contrast to the daily reality they know. Where the state uses fear and punishment to enforce order, the gospel offers messages of hope, healing, and a genuine community that cares. Instead of feeling controlled by anonymous authorities, new Christians speak of meeting real people who stand by them in hardship. Instead of complex rituals and laws, they learn about a simple invitation: come as you are. Stories of personal dreams and visions also play a role. In Iran's culture, dreams hold deep meaning. Many people describe vivid encounters with Jesus in their sleep, moments that feel so real they cannot ignore them. After such experiences, they start asking questions, searching online for answers, or quietly attending a Bible study in someone's home. Those gatherings, though small and secret, have become lifelines for seekers. As one convert put it, "I woke up believing I was not alone. I wanted to know who that gentle voice was." Of course, joining a house church in Iran is not without risk. The government labels anyone who leaves Islam an enemy of the state. Secret worship meetings are often raided. church leaders can disappear overnight only to face months of solitary confinement or torture. Converting to Christianity can mean losing your job, your family's approval, or even your freedom. Yet many decide these dangers are worth facing because they have tasted something they call true peace. In the face of persecution, underground churches adapt. They meet in rotating locations, sometimes in an apartment, other times in a private garden after dark. When digital tools are safe to use, believers connect via encrypted apps, sharing worship songs and Bible passages in Farsi. A network of sympathizers outside Iran provides translated resources and encouragement. This invisible support structure makes it possible for the movement to continue growing, even under tight surveillance. While Iran's leaders double down on repression, their actions often backfire. Every raid, every arrest becomes a story of courage that spreads by word of mouth. Families start asking why a faith that claims to love its adherents would treat them so cruelly. Some relatives of new Christians, initially appalled by the change, end up softening when they see genuine compassion among believers in the face of suffering. They love people, one sister of a convert admitted. That is something I've never seen before. The ripple effect does not stop at Iran's borders. Similar hush-quiet shifts are surfacing across the Muslim world. In Afghanistan, brave souls gather in basements to read the Bible, risking arrest by the Taliban. In war-torn Yemen, where hunger and conflict dominate every headline, whispers of secret fellowships offer a rare sense of hope. In Saudi Arabia too, where a decade ago any faith other than Islam was unthinkable, there are now stories of quiet tolerance and private conversations about faith with the ruling elite. Watching this movement grow, observers call it nothing less than historic. Yet it remains largely hidden behind headlines about geopolitics and security. To many outside the region, the idea that so many Muslims would embrace Christianity seems impossible. But as one underground pastor in Tehran explained, hope travels quietly in a place where big speeches only bring fear. At the heart of this transformation lies a simple truth. People who feel abandoned by a system are drawn to a message of personal care and lasting hope. When life offers constant burdens, poverty, addiction, political repression, an invitation to lay down those burdens can be life-changing. The words attributed to Jesus in one of the Gospels capture this shift. "Come to me, all who are tired and carry heavy loads, and I will give you rest." Those who hear that promise in a land of unrest find it hard to walk away. Critics of the movement point to wide variations in the reported numbers. Some statistics are based on hearsay or ancient interviews, making them unreliable. Yet mission groups, former insiders, and human rights advocates all agree on one fact. Christianity is growing faster in parts of the Middle East than at almost any other time in modern history. Those who study underground networks say that even if half of the highest estimates prove true, the impact would still be profound. This wave of conversion carries weighty implications. In Iran, religious identity and political power are intertwined. A mass shift away from Islam threatens both the spiritual authority of the clergy and the legitimacy of the ruling system. If millions quietly choose a faith outside state control, the foundations of the theocracy could weaken. In neighboring countries, the very idea of challenging religious norms inspires new forms of social and political discourse. Yet the movement remains fragile. Without official recognition or safe spaces, every new believer takes a risk. Many live double lives, publicly conforming to Islamic customs while privately gathering with fellow Christians at night. They depend on whispered warnings about raids, coded messages about meeting spots, and the protection of those willing to stand with them. For those involved, the stakes are nothing less than life and death. But for them, the promise of a renewed sense of worth and the vision of a community that cares outweighs any threat from the state. As one convert summed it up, "I would rather face chains than live in a cage of fear." Across the region, this quiet revolution spreads seed by seed. In small circles, the message of unconditional love takes root. In each hidden gathering, someone catches a glimpse of something they have never seen before: a God who chooses them, forgives them, and meets them in their darkest hour. So when we hear reports of empty mosques and packed house churches in Iran, we are witnessing more than just a shift in religious statistics. We are seeing real people seeking real hope. In lands where voices of dissent are silenced and heavy burdens are carried in secret, the simple words of an ancient promise are quietly rewriting the story of millions. This is a movement driven by longing for freedom, freedom of conscience, freedom to worship without fear, and freedom to find meaning beyond a life defined by hardship. Whether this wave of conversions will reach every corner of the Muslim world remains to be seen. But what is clear today is that the stirrings of the Jesus Revolution have already left their mark. In hidden rooms and whispered prayers, a transformation is underway, one that no iron grip can fully stop and no wall of fear can contain.